faster, better, safer. What's up, YouTube? Luke the window cleaner, Rihanna, Sharon.
Yay!
Cat hair's gonna go flying. Today we are going to be reviewing ReachiT's Gunslinger. This is the video that we have talked about doing for a very long time. We refer to this whole situation as Bucketgate of 2018.
When the Samurai came out, the Gunslinger was coming out at the same time, and for some reason it became you have to be on a side. And I think that was mostly on the Gunslinger side of things, like you couldn't support both. And that was really unfortunate because two products came out, two pretty different products that do different things, and depending on how you clean windows or what you like, either one of these two things could have been great for you. But if you bought a Gunslinger, you were on, outlaw side. If you bought a Samurai, you were on, WCR side, and it just became this whole thing.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And to be honest, in our opinion, completely and 100% fabricated. Cue Perry Tate.
Hey, just to let you know, I'm having a good conversation with Richie about, whether it's the marketing benefits of drama and conflict online. And he's such a Californian. I said to him, people don't watch HBO to see no conflict, no drama. People don't watch Netflix. People don't even watch CNN or Fox, right, to hear no drama or conflict. Like, marketing and media is all about juxtaposition, and as long as our facts are good and we're telling the truth, then we're doing a service to the community, and also we're making online interesting. So I'm defending our current position. And that WCR pricing, I mean, if you do your math, that's 50% more. I didn't think about that when I was making that little record, but it's 50% more. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. That's worth exposing.
I have to tell a little bit about the story before we do our review.
So, if you don't care about the backstory, check the description down below, and Luke will put a timestamp of where the actual review comes into play.
So, a long time ago, us and Tim Huber, Josh Showoff, I'm so sorry. At the time, it was just them two, and they came to us and asked us if we would help promote a window cleaning t-shirt company that they wanted to start.
And I said, hell yeah, I love t-shirts. You don't have to give me any money. I just want some t-shirts. Send me t-shirts, and we'll put them in videos. We'll do it, because I just love t-shirts.
And we also like helping guys trying to get started in YouTube and starting their own window cleaning stuff. We like that because we've been in that position.
And if any of you guys have ever talked to Tim one-on-one, he is really likable. He's
He's a likable guy.
He's really down to earth, really cool. And so, of course, we're like, send us the shirts, we'll make you videos, and that's what happened.
So we start working with Tim, and we wear shirts in a couple of videos. There's no kickbacks or anything. There's talks behind the scenes of, you'll be a partner of the company and things like that, and it just didn't work out, and it kind of fizzled out. And that was fine, and no harm, no foul. We just kind of kept on doing our thing, and they kept on doing their thing. A few months passed by, and honestly, what's happening is I'm on the computer, I'm editing some videos, and I get a message from Lee Burbridge from the Window Cleaning Magazine. I get a message from Lee, and Lee wants us to, and I've talked to Lee off and on throughout the years at this point, so Lee messages me and says, hey Luke, I'd like for you to be part of some kind of window cleaning Netflix that he's putting together. And I'm like, well, Lee, and to be honest, I'm editing a video and I'm not paying too much attention to the conversation. I should have been. And I was like, Lee, I'm just not that interested, to be honest, man. He's like, well, is it because you're in some kind of contract with WCR? And I'm like, no, I'm not in any contract with WCR. We just like working with them. They're one of our quote-unquote affiliates.
If you go down in our description box and you look at the window cleaning resource link, that is not an affiliate link. If you click on that link, it takes you directly to WCR's website. That's not an affiliate link, though. So if you go to that link and buy a Zero Pure, there's no way of telling that you bought that from our link And so we're not making any money off of what you guys buy. Any of our links are like that. I think House Call Pro, we were affiliated with them where we would get a percentage for a while, but we ended up doing away with that too because we're like, no, we don't want to do that. We just want like a flat fee, whatever. But just to clear it up, we're not affiliated. Like we don't have affiliate links with WCR, so that's not how we make our money.
So before we end the conversation, he says, Luke, if I ask you not to say anything to anybody, do you promise not to say anything? And I said, well, sure. And I'm assuming, because again, I'm editing videos. It's Sunday, and I'm editing videos and assuming this has to do with his window cleaning Netflix. And he's going to tell me what the idea is and whatever. So I'm like, yeah, man, I'm not going to tell anyone. And then he goes on to say, stay away from WCR. They're snakes. They're going to do you wrong. They'll run your name into the ground and or through the mud, and they're just stay away from WCR. They're awful, awful people.
And we had worked with WCR for a while, and this was after I think we met Chris.
Mm-hmm.
After we'd met Chris and like Josh Cronin, and we met John Lee, and we talked to Chris on a regular basis, and it was just a really good relationship. Chris has never told us what to do, never told us what not to do. It's not like he has any power over us. It's just like a friendship that blossomed out of this. So.
Yeah. And he's telling us this, and I was under the impression that Lee Burbage from the Window Cleaning Magazine and Chris over at Window Cleaning Resource were friends. I was assuming that all those guys were like friends. So anyways, turns out maybe they weren't. So spoke to Chris, let him know what happened, and of course Lee fired right away. How dare you? And ends up calling me a grade A asshole and all kinds of things. And I'm sorry. I told him because it seems like you're kind of stabbing people in the back, man. What are you doing? So, fast forwarding, how that comes into play with the outlaw situation, I see that it appears that Lee Burbage is purchasing subscribers on his YouTube channel. And I already know that he's kind of like stabbing people in the back, or it seems so. So I reach out to Tim because I see that Tim is starting to work with Lee. And I say, hey, Tim, man, you really want to be careful working with this guy. I think he's purchasing subscribers, and also I don't know if he's very trustworthy. And so it kind of sparks this little feud between me and Tim. And I'm like, where's this coming from? So it turns out Tim, I think, was already in talks with Perry Tate as well. If you guys do not know Perry Tate from ReachiT, he is the owner of ReachiT, and he hates Window Cleaning Resource and half the other distributors in America. Ways back, the distributors had dropped Perry Tate from selling his product. They dropped them for various reasons that I'm not sure of all of them, so I can't talk about all of them. I do know that some of them have talked about poor quality products. There are some guys out there complaining about the products breaking down very quickly after purchasing them.
Well, we can't speak to that because we have never owned a ReachiT product before, and we had no intentions to, because we, by ourselves, without WCR ever being involved, without anyone ever really telling us, we had our own interaction with Perry Tate, which we did not find great. And so we were just like, forget that guy. We will not put him on our channel. We will not, because he was one of the first guys we reached out to in the beginning of our channel when we saw that this could be something really cool. Before even WCR, we reached out to Perry Tate. He was like, no thanks. And we were like, screw that guy. No thanks. So that's why we've never said his name. We've never said, until our last video.
Yeah.
We hadn't said his name, hadn't talked about his products, nothing. You won't find it anywhere. Because we haven't used them, we can't talk about them. Just to be fair.
So, starts the fight with the argument with us and Tim Huber over at Outlaw. So, Perry Tate, to my understanding, had egged on some of the Outlaw bashing of me and Rihanna over the last year. Listen to this clip here.
Hey, dude, I'm here with Paul Rawson. Can I mention your name?
Yeah.
There you go. and we're having a chill, and he's come up with a great idea for you to do, what would we call it? A shit take. A piss take.
Clicks and giggles?
It's a clicks and giggles type thing. That's what he calls them, right? Where you fucking, clickbait on funny shit. Anyway, so his idea is, because the popularity of Luke the Window Cleaner, and the dude's all tatted up, and if he didn't have any tats, he'd look like a school kid.
So, and then, what is it, Cars, right? In Cars,
Yeah.
the Porsche lady calls, what's his name? Lightning McQueen, stickers, right? Which is kind of like...
Because he doesn't have lights.
Because he doesn't have lights. And it's kind of the piss take on tattoos, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
So we think...
Or a tough man.
Or a tough dude. So we think you should have... a character called Stickers. And he has this bitch called Brianna. So Stickers and Brianna. It's just so fucking wrong. And it's fucking funny. Right? Tell me that's not so fucking clever. Stickers and Brianna, and you could take off Luke the window cleaner. Right? You'd have to don a beard of some, goat hair or something. Or the hair, maybe a horse's tail or something. Anyway. I'm not sure if I've had one beer too many, but it does seem funny to me right now.
That clip sparked the stickers video that Tim had made, and behind the scenes, I think Perry Tate was kind of egging him on to get to me and Rihanna just to get at WCR.
And in private conversations with Tim and TJ, where we have talked it out, we've both apologized, all of us have apologized to each other.
Yes. And
seen how silly the situation it is. They have told us that Perry was 100% behind it, being like, get him. Yeah. The silly part is Outlaw and us each had a friend, a fellow window cleaner in the industry, come out with a product. And each of us had a friend say, will you help me market this? And we said, yes, of course, Jared. Give it to us. We'll put it in a video. Didn't make a dime off of it. You have the outlaw guys over here with ReachiT.
Same thing.
Yeah, bucket, friend. Yeah, awesome. We'll do it for you. Made an awesome product. They made videos for him. And if that had been it, that would have been it. But there was a little devil on their shoulder telling them, this is the best way to market this thing is by getting... starting a fight and creating sides and creating this
drama
whole
in
group, spawned out of hatred.
So when we fast forward to December, we're still kind of feuding with Tim, and it looks like things are starting to get a little bit better though. And Rihanna and I have always wanted to get a Gunslinger because they look cool. They do look cool, and we wanted to try it. So we just said, you know what? We said, you know what? Screw it. Let's get a Gunslinger and let's just try it. We will talk about making the video later.
We said in our last video, we took a little bit of a break over Christmas, and we were just like, we're in a rut with our videos, because it's starting to feel like a job a little bit. And we're like, I wanted to try the Gunslinger since I saw it, because I got sent a picture of the tip jar when we were in Belgium, and that was before it had anything to do with ReachiT at all. And so when I saw it, I was like, wow, Luke, look at this. I showed him. And even back then, I think Richie talked about sending us out a second gin, because he had sent out all the tip jars to all the people he wanted to have them. And he said that, the next time he made them, he would send us out one. So I was really excited about it. So I had known about it before, just like the other guys did.
Yeah. And
then when it launched, because one, we don't support ReachiT and we never will, we couldn't really buy it. And then there was a whole feud that was created out of nowhere between the two buckets. So we're like, well, we can't buy it now. And now even isn't the most great time in the world to do a review because of all of the leakage problems everyone say that they have. So it's just screw it. We want to do what we want to do, and that's what we're going to do. And also being transparent with you guys, we decided, 100% transparency. That's what we're going to do from now on. Not that, we hid anything from you guys, but whatever.
We just didn't feel like including all the drama was necessary, but I feel that we have to include some of the story so that you see that it's not WCR versus ReachiT or ReachiT versus WCR. This is us giving a review of a product. That's all it was back then, and that's all it is now. Perry Tate, I think, in my opinion, likes to stir up drama and create sides for marketing purposes. I mean, just like you heard in the clip, that's what he does. Come December, we're starting to patch things up with Tim and TJ and everybody at Outlaw, and man, does it feel good. TJ, Tim, everyone at Outlaw, I really want to thank you guys for being good guys and allowing us to put this all behind us.
We did reach out to Richie before we bought the buckets, and just to be respectful, just like with Jared or whoever else, sends us anything, we kind of give them a heads up on what we think of the product. We did that with Richie. We hadn't talked to Richie since everything was going down with Outlaw, but he's an amazing guy. He's incredibly smart and innovative, and unfortunately for us, he got involved with a company that we don't support. But whenever another window cleaner is in trouble, it doesn't matter if they've taken a fall or gotten sick or whatever happens. I mean, that's what's important, is rallying around that person and helping them as much as you can. I mean, it could be anybody. It could be Luke and I next, that get into some trouble. And knowing that the community's there to help it's just really nice. And so we want to do the same thing for Richie and just help him as much as we can, because we think that he's getting a real crap deal right now.
Yeah, it's
he's getting a lot of the blame for the Gunslinger crap that's going on, and it's just really unfair because he had a great idea. He produced 4 tip jars, and they're still all on someone's leg right now, and they're still working, and they're great. And then a manufacturer took what he wanted and skewed it and made it cheaper to produce, and it's not performing as well, and Richie's getting a lot of hate for that.
So, this review does not reflect on ReachiT Blue in any way. We are not reviewing ReachiT Blue's product. We are reviewing Perry Tate's or ReachiT's version of the tip jar / Gunslinger. It originally was a tip jar, so we're reviewing the ReachiT Gunslinger. So let's get into the review. This is the Gunslinger.
When it came packaged, it was like beautiful. That packaging, we ordered it around Christmas, and it came wrapped like a Christmas present. Both of ours did. When you open it up, it was like opening up like a PlayStation. That's what I felt like you were like
or an
opening.
iPhone.
Yeah, something like super fancy. And then like you see the sponge, and you're like, dang it, like that's it. And then you see like the extra little like whatever these things are. And it's like, oh
Rivets
no.
Hang on, this is a little wet. So thankfully, ReachiT was nice enough to send their paperclip along with their product. So the sponge, and we're going to get to what the sponge is for, but this wasn't a part of the original design. This is a fix because the product is flawed. If you guys are not familiar with the Gunslinger, what this is, it is a soft BOAB. I believe it has some kind of like PVC type material here, covered in canvas. It's quite large. Let's just get right into the size of it.
That was a huge downside for me, because this is too big for me personally. I fit in tight spots a lot. I don't like to move a whole bunch of stuff, and like I do a bunch of drive-throughs, and I can normally fit between a car and a window and clean around, the drive-through window while someone's waiting on their food just fine. With this, I can't do that because it's like an extra like 6 or 7 inches off of my hip, and there's no turning it at all. So, and then the smaller one that I saw would have been too small for my 18-inch. So that was one thing that I didn't like about it, was how large it was.
Really large. This one comes all the way, for where I wear my belt, this one comes definitely all the way down to my knee. So when I bend down, I think this is part of the design, but what happens is the bucket ends up pushing my whole belt like up my waist. It's really weird. And I don't like that, but I guess the idea is that it's not supposed to tip over. But it just seems kind of cumbersome, and it's really large. It feels like you're wearing a duffel bag.
That's because of this part, though.
Yes, that's because of this, because it doesn't swivel. But it does just feel like you're wearing a duffel bag. It's really hard to get used to. It is nice how it contours to your leg, though. I will say that, because that was kind of nice, and now the flopping around, it does stay there. So it's like a double-edged sword. You're probably not going to get both of those.
And then it has 2 pockets. You can see there, I'm sure Luke will put another clip in. There's 2 different pockets. One on the outside is for your mop, and then the one on the inside is for your squeegees. I loved it. This was the easiest bob I've ever transitioned to, and I've tried every single one of them, I think, except for Edaray's one with just the 1 slot.
Oh, yeah, you're not missing out.
This was, so easy. You don't have to look where you're putting your tools. You just put them and drop them over. And I realized when using this how little I actually use my 14-inch. So it's, especially during storefront, so it's almost like unnecessary for me to carry that. So I would only really need to use 2 tools, my mop and my 18-inch. But I loved that. I loved how big the compartments are. I don't need a divider. I think Luke said he would like to have an option of a divider in there. But for me, this was amazing. I love this idea.
So when it comes to the compartments, for me, this was one of the most redundant things about the whole design that I found. Because it is so large, you have these extremely oversized compartments, which are nice because you can just dump your tools in. It was marketed by the ReachiT team as you can carry like a ton of tools in here, right?
And you could carry a bunch of tools,
yes.
say walking from your truck to the windows. But then once you go to pull out a tool, all your other tools come out too.
Yes, and if you guys are an experienced window cleaner, you know exactly what Rihanna is saying, because what happens is in an unorganized space like this, the handles start crisscrossing each other, so when you go to pull one tool, the other one's coming out. And I don't care who you are, you will have to fidget with it, and you will have to put thought into how you're pulling out your tools and putting your tools back in the bucket if you're carrying multiple tools. So what I'm getting at is with this oversized opening here, you're really kind of now restricted to just one tool. I tried carrying 2 in here, but I was constantly dropping my other tool.
Well, I mean, if you're a real window cleaner, you only need 1.
I was constantly dropping my other tool, and also this was marketed towards other, I guess, plastic BOABs seem to nick other people's rubbers. We haven't ran into that with our plastic BOABs.
I ran into it with the Samurai, and that's why I stopped carrying it. We didn't make a video about it. We talked to Jared about it immediately. I think I wore it for a week. We had shot the video, and I kept noticing I was getting nicks in my rubbers. So we ended up telling Jared, send him some pictures. And he was like, oh, just file down that insert. And then he was like, from here on out, we're going to fix that. Yes. But I mean, it would have been a really easy fix, but for me, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So
because it nicked your rubber, and it's annoying.
Well, and I didn't want to file it down for some reason, so that's why I stopped carrying the Samurais, because of the nicks in the rubber.
So I found that when my rubber, what tends to happen with your squeegee is it wants to fall forward in this BOAB, and then it rests right here on this canvas, and I typically get a little ding, or not a nick, but a ripple in my rubber. And then when you're carrying 2 squeegees, so now your squeegee rubbers are resting on each other. So anyways, I found that I was having some issues with my rubber.
I did not have that issue. The only issue I had was this fabric coming apart and getting onto my rubber. Which,
yes.
I mean, I just had to wipe it off before I started, pretty much anytime I dropped it in. I don't know what material this is, but this would like come off onto my rubber.
Yeah. If there was simply a divider, which I think it could be made, I really do, but if there was some type of divider here and this was made a little bit smaller, I would make the switch, because I love the idea behind this. I just don't like fidgeting with stuff, and Rena's the same way. We hate fidgeting with stuff, and I just thought that I was fidgeting too much. So if there was a divider, I think I would make the switch, because I love the idea that of being able to carry multiple tools with me. I just don't want to fidget.
I have 3 reasons why I will not be switching to this. One is I need a swivel here, because whenever I was bending down to do any type of sills, my squeegees in here would hit me in the ribs. That sucked. Number 2 is I don't know if this thing's going to leak or not. It seems like every other day there's someone else coming out saying, hey, this is leaking, and that you can't take it into a house if it's going to leak, especially...
Absolutely not.
You just can't do that. And number 3 is because it's a ReachiT product, and Perry Tate is a
Oh my god.
And number 3 is because this is a ReachiT product, and Perry Tate has caused so much trouble for Luke and I in the past year and a half,
and the window cleaning industry as a whole.
But personally, you and I, it was just, I would never in a million years carry a ReachiT product. I love the idea of this, though. Richie had a great idea. There's no doubt in my mind the tip jar that he made is amazing. Like I said, if this thing didn't leak, I would probably carry it, and if it wasn't Perry's, I'd probably carry it. So,
speaking about the leaking issues, I do want to touch base. I said I would talk about this sponge. So what happened is it's got a very large cavity, and I think the cavity is so large just so that you can carry 22-inch and maybe larger squeegees. But with that large cavity, when you're walking, it tends to splash out of the side here with the water.
I think Tim said it had something to do with whether this
Was sewn on the inside?
Yeah, inside or outside. If it's on the outside, if this is sewn on the outside of the tip jar or Gunslinger, it'll probably leak. But if it's sewn on the inside, it won't.
So they give you a big sponge to shove down in your $100 bucket. So it will slosh out unless you use the sponge. There are a lot of guys, again, talking about the leaking. We only use these, to be fair, about a week or two. We never washed them. So we didn't experience any leaking with these, to be fair.
Guys also said that it was leaking from the bottom.
I just saw a picture of that, and I'll share that, where someone's having it leak from the bottom. With that kind of scare, you could not wear this, again, on the inside of a house. You can't gamble with that. This bucket retails for $100. I believe it came down to, down to a discounted price, and it never went back to $100.
Right now, I think they're doing, try one out for free, and he'll bill you later for it, just
Yeah.
because of all the crap that's been going on with it.
Exactly. So here's the thing. If this bucket was made with, in our opinion, with higher quality materials and stayed more true to ReachiT Blue's original design, I think it would absolutely be worth $100. But the ReachiT design here, no. I can't pay $100 for something that I have to fidget with, repair within weeks of having it, because I've seen photos of that, and I can't pay $100 to gamble with this thing leaking in a house. That is my biggest concern. There was a lot of days we couldn't film with this because we had houses on the schedule, and we could not have Rihanna going inside the house with this on. We couldn't gamble with it. The only other thing I wanted to mention about the Gunslinger that we found, the tipping wasn't super convenient. We typically just dump out our hip buckets.
Yeah.
And this one, we kind of had to fidget to tilt it all out.
I would just rip my sponge out and wring it out and shove it back in. I think it's the gloves, because it's winter time right
That's
now.
true.
So we're in gloves, and so it's kind of hard to do the tipping action with your big bulky winter gloves on.
I will say this. I think it could be a great product, and you guys, you have to remember that window cleaning, it's so opinionated. And you'll see Rihanna and I typically have a lot of different opinions. Rihanna really likes the product. There's a few things she wants to see changed. If you do your due diligence and you search online about the quality of ReachiT products, I think you might find that their products, the quality of their products, can be questionable. So as a consumer, we're just telling you to please do your research before purchasing any ReachiT product or even the Gunslinger. Because they are kind of pricey, and they have had a history of failing quite soon. And it really sucks because we work really hard for our money.
I got 2 cats! Oh.
Now, guys, I want to get to the last serious pressing issue with the whole bucket gate problem. I believe there's an issue here with Perry Tate, or ReachiT, holding ReachiT Blue into his contract. I think if you reached out to ReachiT Blue and asked him his opinion, he would love nothing more than to get out of this contract and be willing to take his product elsewhere or try a whack at it independently.
He has been taken advantage of,
In our opinion.
And other people's opinions. And it's really unfortunate because he is really, really intelligent.
And a nice guy with great ideas.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met someone who didn't like ReachiT.
And
I don't even know him.
It's really hard because think about it, and some of you guys watching this love tinkering with tools and trying new inventions, and some of us kind of dream. I'm not going to lie, I would love to make my own product. And put yourself in his shoes. What if you made a product and you took it to a manufacturer that might have promised you the world and didn't really deliver? And now you're kind of taking the brunt of the failure of the product. Guys, this is not ReachiT Blue's fault. This is ReachiT's manufacturing process, I believe, that could be to blame for all of this. So that's why you see us passing around the hashtag #FreeReachiB. I'm asking you, Perry Tate, because I'm sure you're probably watching this video, why don't you just let ReachiT go from the contract? Sell the rest of the Gunslingers you have, okay? don't, whatever, you got to work out with him and let him go. Let him go do what he wants to do. Let him take his product to a well-known and respected manufacturer
Or
out
at
there.
least his future products.
Yeah.
You can't even do that. And
No.
that's too bad. We can't, as a community, let larger manufacturers control how we treat each other. That was something I learned in this. We're a community and we all work in the field, and or we have guys in the field, and don't let someone like Perry Tate come in and I don't know.
Don't let someone like Perry Tate come in and pin people against each other. Guys, the window cleaning community is our community. It is not the manufacturers or any of these companies. It's not theirs. Without us, guess what? They're not going to be here. There has to be some kind of coexistence, which is absolutely fine. It's not a war. But the thing is we cannot allow companies like ReachiT to come in here and manipulate people against each other. It does no good for anybody. I know over the past year, Rihanna and I can't be any more honest, have talked about we've talked about quitting YouTube. We've talked about quitting making videos and being involved because it is emotionally draining on us.
When there's like video after video after video about you and it's all negative, it just takes up too much of your brain space.
And to know that it could have all been behind a big company like ReachiT, with really probably has no intentions or cares about us, but in the end, all they want to do is get to a distributor that dropped them. That's all he's trying to do. As a consumer, as a window cleaner, as a fellow YouTuber, it would be cool to see everyone stand together and correct the ReachiT problem. Do your own research. Decide if it's a company you want to purchase from. You heard a few sound bites that was actually sent to us from the Outlaws that was shot from Perry Tate on Facebook. You heard those sound bites. That's more, I think, of who Perry Tate is behind the scenes.
I know that TJ, his podcast isn't for everyone, but if you want to learn more about Richie Blue and what Perry did, a lot of his podcasts talk about it. He cusses, so if you're not into cussing, I wouldn't watch him. But
He can be funny though.
he can be very funny. But if you don't mind, if you're an adult, we're all adults. Yeah, he goes into detail about a lot of it.
Guys, if you want to help support Richie, and hopefully we can see one of our fellow window cleaners get out of this horrible deal, leave a comment in the leave a comment below, and hashtag free Richie B, man. Like, try to get him free from his contract. Let him take his design somewhere else. So, guys, thanks for watching. Tune back in next week so we can get back to vlogs.
You know what?
I will though.
You know what? TJ and Tim have never apologized for making fun of my cat. They've apologized for like everything else, but not about my cats.
Dang it. We're not okay now.
War back on.
Stay out of it, Perry.
Look at that face.
Poor Waldo.
How could you not like Waldo?